Hey guys, how you doing? In 2020, I think that when I reflect on the videos that I recorded that probably will never meet social media or YouTube, and I reflect where my frame of mind was, I actually think I was a little bit depressed. Here's why. I realized that the spotlight was starting to shine on me, and I felt a lot like an imposter. I felt like I was supposed to be big, but couldn't figure out how to be big because I had faked it up until that point. And then I realized, oh, I really need to be about believing in myself. Otherwise, this stuff doesn't really work. And, Neo was getting a lot of recognition, and so were the people leading Neo. So that put me under a form of spotlight, and all of a sudden people were expecting me to be this know-it-all businesswoman who could do cool things and inspire people, and I just didn't feel very much like what I was doing. There was a lot of dissonance. So what I realized was this, right? A lot of the time, similar to the Israelites in Numbers 13, sometimes we have this grasshopper mentality. And it was so funny because my pastor preached on this very thing that I felt like the Lord had been speaking to me about. He felt like hearing my pastor preach this just gave me so much more language to the grasshopper, what I call the grasshopper effect, but he coined it the grasshopper mentality. And honestly, I think that he highlighted many traits of a grasshopper mentality, but one of the strongest components was negative thinking and where those negative thoughts come from. Somewhere along the line, if you are not able to be hopeful or believe better for a situation, your perspective is under the influence of a lie. And I didn't really see that in 2020. I didn't see that all of these good things were an indication that I was going in the right direction. It's like, girl, this is supposed to be happening for you. And I think that some of us actually would quench our growth, would quench our ability to even advance beyond where we are if we don't actually take stock and review where our thought patterns or the things we believe are rooted in. For the Israelites, it was that we are grasshoppers. And not only are we grasshoppers, but the enemies, the giants, see us as grasshoppers because they had compared themselves to these massive Nephilim that were in the promised land. And this is the hot part of this topic. I think that a lot of the time, big people, when I say big, I mean people who believe in themselves, people who, I don't know, it's just like they were born with confidence. Big people and little people tend to have this massive difference when it comes to the belief systems that they indulge in and don't indulge in. And sometimes we actually need to take stock so that we don't act out of smallness when our true identity is big. It's so easy to allow ourselves to be bogged down with comparison and the negative thoughts. And actually, there's an open door. There's an open door to believing more about yourself and believing better. And for me, that only came when I decided that I was no longer going to empower the lie. But I think that it's a good step in the right direction. I was no longer going to believe that less was all that was available to me.